Need to fix this. All right. We are live. Hello. Allison Graham here. It is the Lockdown Lift Up, which is our daily gathering for inspiration and excitement and a little bit of info, ideas, whatever that we need to chat about to get through this next lockdown. Our third wave, our full-on stay-at-home order, and we've got this. We're going to be all right. I actually did a keynote this morning, and it was awesome because I was for the first time on a stage that I have not been on. Now, of course, I couldn't have anybody in the audience, and it was just me and the AV guys at RBC Place London, and Tourism London sponsored that. And it was the Global Meetings Industry Day. So it was a big celebration. Certainly love being a part of it. But I didn't quite explain my normal concept as well. So I'm going to explain it here. Because I have another presentation tomorrow, I want to be sure I rock it. So let's work through this. Now, I do believe this time I am going to double check that I am on here. Perfect. What I have to figure out are the comments. Because here's what I know now. I have tested. I can bring somebody up. If you want to hang out with me, I can see comments. I can put them on the screen, and we can hang out together. So I'm excited about that. I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's talk about this. And so the idea this morning was the roller coaster of resilience, or the Resilience Rollercoaster. And the concept being that there's everything going on around us, and how do we then still not react to everything that's happening on the outside? So we can be confident and in flow and maybe even happy or joyful, but definitely contented, even when there's a whole bunch of stuff going on around us that is completely out of our control, which we talked about earlier this week. And so one of the ways that I have found to be really helpful when I get overwhelmed or when I get stressed is to get really, really crystal clear about what I'm dealing with. And a lot of times in our society, what we do is we bucket everything under the word stress, right? So if is, oh, that's so stressful. Oh, wow, what you're going through is really stressful. Well, is it stressful? Or is it heartbreaking or gut-wrenching? Oh, maybe I did this already this week. It sounds familiar. Anyway, doesn't matter. These are live. We'll go with it. So that, I actually, you know what I should do? Sorry, sidebar for Ali G over here. I should make a 28-day, I'm only doing 5 days a week, but for the lockdown, and actually do a schedule of topics. So then I'm not right before going, oh, what should I talk about today? Anyway, I'll think about that. We'll see if that fits on the task list or if it doesn't. But here's what I do is I look at these things when I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, and I say, okay, what is this really? Is it a task that I'm adding some misplaced emotion, maybe a negative storyline, like, oh my gosh, it's going to take forever, or I'm adding on a barrier to performance, like worrying about it, procrastinating on it, not setting boundaries, not saying no, all of those pieces of the puzzle. Because we can take a task that is actually really easy to do, and we can expand it and make it harder and harder and harder by adding those three elements to it. And so I look at something and I say, okay, is it a task? Something that needs to get done? Is it an obstacle, which is something that needs to get solved? Or is it an adversity, which is a catastrophic external force that will forever change the way we know our lives to be? And, a lot of times when we bucket everything under the word stress. So maybe you're grieving and somebody says, oh, that's so stressful. Well, yes and not really. But here's the thing. If we bucket everything under the word stress, then we make the assumption that we need the same tools to effectively deal with each of the issues. And that's not the case. In actual fact, we need to do different tools and have a different game plan for each of those different things that could be challenges in our life, the tasks, the obstacles, and the adversity. So adversity, we need to heal. We need to take the time. We got to go through the grieving process. There is no cheating the human process. And if you try to push it down, it's going to come back up somehow. So we need to have the space and the capacity to actually process and go, okay, the way I knew my life used to be is no longer available to me. How do I release and process that? Oh, that's right. Because I was talking about control, let it go the other day. That's why. Hi, Greg. Oh, welcome. Look, you're going to be my very first comment I'm going to put up on my board. See how I can do that? So feel free to comment as I go through all this stuff. That's awesome. Thank you for being there. So let's look at this. So we've got adversity. We need the space to heal. But the truth is, people are so caught up in being busy. They're so, go. And even after the pandemic, in the old days, I always thought that people were doing that and, no wonder because they had all these different things they had to do. But then when the pandemic happened and people were shut down at home, I would talk to those busy people and you know what they would tell me? They're like, oh my gosh, I've got so much booked tonight. I have like 5 times with my friend, different meeting this. And they like back to back and still weren't taking the space to process the severity of what is going on. And so I think when we do that, we actually are hurting ourselves long term. And we're going to talk about burnout on one of these days for sure, and the risk of burnout and what does that actually look like. But I think if we're not processing the adversity or don't have the space to, you're well on your way to burnout. And trust me, been there, not a good place to be. But then we have our obstacles. And obstacles are the pieces of the puzzle that we need to solve. And just because an obstacle happens does not mean that we need to emotionally react to it. Like since the dawn of business, have things gone wrong with clients? Have they gone wrong with suppliers? Have there been delays in shipping? With airplane travel, have there been mechanical delays, lost luggage? Like you name it, it's been there. That's what it's all about. Like we know that's going to happen. We can anticipate those types of obstacles. So then why are we emotionally charged when they happen? Now we might have that initial emotional piece, but that's where the self-awareness needs to kick in and we go, oh, wait a second. I'm going to step back from this, look at it objectively without any emotion. And then I can find the best solution and the path to move forward. And then we have our tasks, the tasks that we need to get done. And anytime we add all those barriers to performance, like worry and judgment, like you can worry about something for 3 weeks and it probably is going to take you 15 minutes to get done. Taxes is a great example. People say, oh, I don't want to do my taxes. Oh, they're so off. Oh, I got to go through that. And then they put it off. And all the while worrying about it. And then when they actually sit down to do it, it's not that big of a deal. But also, what I'm fascinated by is I hear the same friends who dread tax time every year. And I'm like, why don't you put systems in place so you don't have to go through that? Why don't you put something in place for all year long so you don't have to go through that all the time, right? Because like the emotional drag on doing that is like, why would you not put anyway, I digress. And then we have, so if you think about it, we've got the tasks, the obstacles, adversity. But here's what's critical is they all feed together. Because if you have too many tasks, oh, you know what? I actually have, oh my goodness, let's do this. Un momento. So we have tasks, obstacles, adversity. Our level of control, we talked about that earlier this week. Low level with adversity, high level with tasks, medium level with obstacles. But here's how they all work together. So when you have a task, too many tasks that aren't dealt with, they ultimately will end up becoming an obstacle. Perhaps a lost client, perhaps something that is, a deadline that's missed, you've dropped the ball, etc. But too many obstacles left unsolved will eventually turn into an adversity, burnout, losing the client, going out of business, etc. But where our opportunity lies is in how these work together going the other way. So with every adversity comes new obstacles. And those obstacles, what we want to do is we want to have ability to emotionally disconnect from them, objectively look at them from a distance, figure out how to solve them as effectively as we can. And when we find those solutions, we get new tasks. And those tasks are where we have that high level of control. So if you're feeling like you're just drowning in, overwhelm or stress, or you just can't get on top of all of this stuff, think about this model and say, okay, what's stressing me right now? Go to a pen and paper, write it all down. And when you go to write it all down, then look at it objectively and go, of this, which are tasks, which are obstacles, and which are adversities? I remember doing this in a workshop with a group of business owners, and one of the ladies there, she'd been in business for, 35 years, very successful. And she just looked at it and went, oh, so basically I'm spending my life completely stressed. She'd been under a lot of pressure for a long time. And I've just realized that what's causing me stress are a whole bunch of tasks that do not require the emotional contribution. And it just is like a light switch that can flip. So that's my thought for today. Those are my thoughts for today. And I really hope that that is helpful to you here on the Lockdown Lift Up, to give you some food for thought. Just thinking, like, if you're feeling stressed, what is the task? What are the obstacles? What are the adversities? How can I step up and shift them a little bit? Like, figure out what's what, and then I can make a game plan. So tasks we do, obstacles we solve, adversity we heal. Okay? So I hope that works for you, and I'd love to hear your comments. Of course, I'm getting the replay comments as well, so I'm trying my best to answer those. I'm going to do this every weekday during this lockdown number 3 here in Ontario, and I just do little snippets of inspiration or ideas or thinking or whatever. And a couple of you have sent me some really good ideas for themes that I can do. And I will keep welcoming those anytime you'd want to send them to me. So there we go. I'm going to sign off. And it's been a really great day. I get that keynote to celebrate Global Meetings Industry Day. And now it's time for me. My task is to go. I think I'm going to shut down for the day, actually. I think that's a lot of energy output, and I'm good. I feel good about that. So I hope you have had an amazing day as well.